Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Katie. Hi, Uncle Tim.
What's up, everybody? Johnny Disc Golf here at the 2020 Memorial Championships, and I am joined by the people's favorite, Mr. A.J. Risley. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man. I'm doing all right. People's favorite. Wow.
Well,
That helped.
certainly one of.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, let's get this thing rolling right away. Yeah, I think I have a story that that a lot of people can relate to. Hopefully, on a lot. I mean, all this is hopefully
Yeah, sure.
that a lot of people can relate to on different levels.
Yeah, physical, metaphysical, emotional,
Yeah.
spiritual.
Right. Yeah.
Many
And I mean, I'm still learning. So if you want to learn with me, that's a big part of my philosophy at the moment.
Well, hey, I appreciate you saying learning, though, getting to a little bit more serious, because you've had some pretty serious adjustments, both like lifestyle and with your disc golf game between last season and this season. You want to tell the people about your injury and maybe like what that journey has been like for you?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot there. I mean, back in August, here's the wrist. I don't know why I referred to this as August, but yeah. So the right wrist back in August at Pro Worlds, I kind of tweaked it, aggravated it. And I just felt like I felt a sharp pain right around in here on the follow through.
Okay.
And I played through it. It was during the first round that the injury happened, but I just kept playing through it and wrapped it up a little bit and told myself, to just play through the pain, even because it would hurt on the follow through, but not every other moment.
Okay.
And so I just kept playing through it and made it through Worlds, made the cut and all that, but dropped out of the next 5 tournaments.
Okay.
And it really sucked dropping out of that that stretch. You know, we had Delaware, we had Maple Hill, we had Nantucket, Green Mountain Championship, and yeah, that was the stretch I was looking forward to the most. So that really, it sucked. It really did. It bummed me out quite a bit. But it in that moment I realized how much I really love the sport. So it made the off season a little bit better. It kind of gave me some direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, the off season there's a lot of uncertainty. I went home and tried to figure out what exactly was wrong, and the doctor said, well, if it doesn't hurt all the time, then we don't really need to do an MRI. We don't, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
So what they prescribed was ibuprofen, and then they referred me to a physical therapist. And so I went to the physical therapist for like 3 months straight, 22 visits.
Wow.
And I learned a lot. And we worked on a lot of different exercises, doing like grip strength, strengthening like the flexors and extensors and whatnot. And, not only this, this way, but this way as well. And a lot of shoulder exercises and what else. And all of this, the physical therapy in conjunction with Disc Golf Strong the whole off season, I was even more committed to that and to stay up with the off season program. And yeah, so I learned a lot and got a lot stronger. But then what I also learned was my form was really what did it. Before, and I've told a lot of people this the last couple weeks that we've been out here on the road, is like I've said, yeah, my form was incorrect, and I've had multiple people say, but it was so smooth. It looked effortless.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I mean, it felt effortless because I wasn't thinking about the specifics.
Yeah.
I was just throwing. That's kind of how I was brought up. Was just to throw and learn from there.
Yeah.
And now going through this whole shift and revolution in the way we see the sport, me personally, I've learned a lot about how each little joint and lever and whatnot affects the throw and how it can be used. And it just made me think of what I was doing before, and I don't think I was loading my wrist before I threw. I don't think I was reaching back and loading my shoulder as much as I should have. I just wasn't. I was starting from, say, like maybe 10% loaded instead of 50 or whatever the heck it is.
Okay.
And so it was that mixed in with maybe not the best follow through. That's what did it. It was a repetitive stress injury. I really fell in love with practice putting.
Hard to knock that. I mean,
Yeah, right. It felt like the best thing I could do at the time, like a couple years ago.
yeah,
But, everything in moderation
absolutely.
is what it should be. So,
Well, not only did you have to make some form adjustments and get your throw maybe a little bit more physically repeatable, but you've actually cut a few pounds off, right? Has this been like a nutrition wellness like along with the physical therapy?
yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I've just been eating smarter. Um, smarter, not harder. Just like going to the produce section, and I did a lot of intermittent fasting over the off season. That's the best time for us to do it, not so much during the season,
So hard.
because it's kind of nice to have some energy, like, and feel like completely awake when we have to perform at the peak levels. But the intermittent fasting, I would just drink coffee in the morning, have a very light lunch, and then do a lot of work during the day,
Yeah.
and that helped burn a lot of fat, and then just eating a lot better, less carbs, no added sugars, or trying to cut down on added sugars as much as possible. Just being conscious of it, like while you're shopping in the grocery store.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what helped me the most. But yeah, I mean, I'm down to close to like 165.
Wow.
And yeah, so it feels good.
Yeah.
I feel nice and light. I mean, especially going through middle school and high school as, close to 200.
Oh wow.
And not
That's significant.
6'1",
Yeah.
6'2", or whatever the heck I am when I
Yeah.
stand up straight. So, it feels good physically, but also emotionally as well.
Yeah.
And that's if I can look at it that way and try to find the positives, then hopefully that'll affect the golf as well.
Sure. Well, being on the road, you mentioned it. It's a little bit easier to do those sorts of things when you are at home and you have a little bit more control over your environment. Have you thought about, or we're 2 or 3 weeks into the road now, how to translate that to road life? Like staying at certain Airbnbs, or sometimes you even don't. You're crashing at someone's house. Like how does one manage that?
Yeah, I mean, having an RV or a van is, it definitely seems like a really good way to go for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm still in the Prius, and I do lots of Airbnbs with the right people. And yeah, I mean, it's anytime I can get around a stove, I have a skillet that my mom got for me for Christmas last year, and a set of knives, or like 3 knives.
That's a set, dude.
Yeah, it's better than one knife. And then a cutting board. So it's like I have my equipment with me, so I can do that. But yeah, it's been working really well this week. I've been staying with Eric Oakley, Calvin Heimberg, Erica Stinchcomb. And we each took a turn cooking dinner, and I've been always like wanting to do that. I've always dreamt about that, and it's nice to finally live it.
Well, let me ask you. The people want to know, what does Calvin Heimberg make for a family dinner?
He made, I think it was some kind of steak. It was like little beef cutlets, and I can't remember exactly what it was,
cutlets with a
but
straight face.
it was like beef cutlets.
Okay, off the cutlet speech.
But it was like beef and broccolini and potatoes, and it was amazing.
Yeah, all right, good. I mean, you'd imagine the kid's thin. He's probably eating well, eating lean.
Eating lean, yeah. Erica killed it, though. She had the best one. It was poke with arugula and avocado and cucumber and rice.
Bougie a little bit. That's
It was
delicious.
really nice.
Yeah. You're wearing a button-up shirt,
Yeah.
okay? It's got a collar on it, but it's not necessarily like a golf shirt.
No.
Which would indicate to me, unfortunately, it didn't quite make the cut here at the Memorial. How are you feeling about your game? We've talked about transitions. We've talked about maybe shaping the form. How are you feeling? A couple events into the road with a lot more on your plate throughout the year.
Well, I'm feeling good. My wrist is feeling good, which is like the most important thing. I think Calvin just won a tournament, and he's like, and he looked at me like, "Oh, sorry, don't want to interrupt the interview." It's fine. But
So
yeah,
how are you feeling?
how
How's
am
the
I-
game? The wrist is okay, obviously, but are the
Yeah.
shots landing where you want to? Do you feel like you've kind of had to reinvent that a little bit? Thank you, Jim. He had dry mouth.
See ya.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was purified water, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I mean, the wrist feels good. That's
Yeah.
the biggest priority. The shots are. Yeah, I feel like they're landing decently, but between the two is where I'm learning the most.
Sure.
And again, it's like the words that I choose to say really have a pretty big impact on how I feel about the whole situation. So I'm being cautious.
Good.
But yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out, and the best way to do that is non-judgmental awareness. And I feel like I'm not really too worried about like the score at this moment.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do it, and then I want that to lead to. I want to find the motivation there.
Yeah.
Vegas, I had a good first round. I was nervous a little bit, not really nervous like, oh God, is this going to hurt? Because I'd been prepping and I felt confident with that, but I was nervous to be in a big event. And then this event really, but yeah, towards the end of that event, I felt myself comparing. I felt that I was comparing myself too much to everyone else and course par and all that. So that was brutal. I struggled a little bit with that emotionally, and then missed the cut there too. And then the first round out here was great.
Okay.
Played with Oakley, and he was in the zone, on fire. It was amazing to watch. And I didn't have any bogeys, and that felt good. And then the next day, I pressed a little too hard, and I just wasn't having fun. And really, I just felt disappointed that I wasn't like, I wasn't doing what I wanted. And if I could have shot like 12 down or whoever, whatever down, and if I was feeling like that, it still wouldn't have felt like a victory.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then the next day I listened to some good music in the morning, some Coldplay, and the message was there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, thank you to anyone who's listening to all my rambling, but there's a message in here somewhere. It's like, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
But the things that I forget exactly what song it was, but the lines were, nobody said it was easy, but nobody said it was going to be this hard. So I'll take it back to the start.
Okay.
And that mixed in with like trouble that can't be named, tigers waiting to be tamed. And then also, am I a part of the cure or am I part of the disease?
Okay.
And it's like, so all those three things really hit me all at once. And so I was, who knows if it was what the heck they were singing about, if it's like just, oh, Chris Martin loves Gwyneth Paltrow and that's how he's expressing it.
But in the moment,
Or maybe it's me and how much I love disc golf and how much I love being able to play. And that's kind of what I found was like, I've been like so afraid these past couple months because there's so much uncertainty with what I'm going through. The disc golf world keeps taking off. Like Jeff Spring, it's just bolting out of control. And so to be like stuck in one spot while all that's happening is scary. And I've been dealing with a lot of emotions that I've never dealt with before. So there's the trouble that can't be named. But at the same time, I'm the only one who can control how I act throughout this whole journey. So there's the tigers waiting to be tamed. It's like the fire's still there. I still feel it. I still love disc golf. I still love watching my discs fly, and I still love hitting putts, and I still love going to new places and seeing old places. And so sometimes it's hard to see that, that bright moon behind all the clouds. But I know it's there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And where is DD with all of this? Because I ask because one of the bigger headlines over the offseason was a fair amount of people leaving DD. I'm thinking Paige, I'm thinking Missy, a handful of others. But they did decide to, I wouldn't say maybe recommit, but you're firmly on that team.
Yeah.
Where's DD with all of this? How, like, do they with all of your changes and with this mindset? How do they feel?
They unwavering, unwavering. Yeah, it's beautiful because when I was talking with Eric McCabe over the off season, we had talked about a new contract for 2020, and I said, well, I had signed a 2-year deal, so I feel like it's just going to be the same deal. I signed a 2-year deal. Robert and I talked about like, accomplish like things that I could do to, earn like a renegotiation, and I did none of those. A lot of it was because of the injury.
Yeah.
I was kind of on pace to like barely make it, but yeah, a lot of it was because of the injury. And so I said like, I don't think a new contract, a new deal is necessary.
Yeah.
And then we talked, and then they were like, well, things are changing, and we want to do this and whatnot. I can't remember exactly how the conversation went.
Probably shouldn't say exactly how the conversation
Sure.
went. Sure.
But we had talked about a salary, and I said, well, I'm injured right now, and I don't know when I'm going to be 100% healthy. What's going to happen with that? And does the contract, is that just the months that I'm on the road, or is the salary just for the months that I'm on the road, or is it all 12 months?
Yeah.
And they said, and Eric said, yeah, it's all 12 months, and if you get injured, man, we're still there for you. And it's like, we're not just supporting your career, like your disc golf player number. We're sponsoring you. We're sponsoring
fantastic.
AJ.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that was all I needed.
That's honestly, it's really good to hear. I feel like DD, every time I've had interactions with them, they do have that like familial, that family feel.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that it's still holding true. It's like they're maybe culling their team down a little bit, but it's still that passionate, family-oriented situation. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I talk with my people there a lot, and yeah, I've stayed at Robert McCall's house and Eric McCabe's house, and not Jeremy Rusko's house yet. That's way up in the hills of Kansas.
The mountains.
Right. But yeah, they've been they've been really good to me, and man, I don't know exactly what I did, but I just blessed.
Yeah.
They've been great to me, and I take that to heart, and I try to be great to them. I try to represent them in my own ways, and yeah, it's definitely a family. I feel it when I walk through their halls of the distribution center, saying hi to different people in the offices, and it's great.
It's great. AJ, a lot of people over there. I see Calvin. Actually, Windows Awards. I see Calvin right there. I figured we'd be doing awards, but I've got a few more interviews I got to knock out. So I want to get you out of here, though, with a chance to speak to the people, all the people who have been rooting for AJ for years and for years to come. Anything to say to the people?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's been pretty tough for me. I'm really trying to work on like looking up, if that means anything to anyone. But yeah, it's been, the past few months have been kind of tough, and I was kind of scared that I was letting a lot of people down, but I've had, again, unwavering support from a lot of people out there, and it's helping me a lot. I don't know exactly what I did to deserve all this, all this love, but yeah, I mean, it fuels me, and I try to reciprocate it whenever I can, and I really appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, AJ. Really, man. We're always pulling for you. It's a pleasure to see you anytime out here. Truly.
Yeah.
From the time you stayed at my place in San Francisco to the Waco church that we crashed at, dude, it's always a good time. So really, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm really rooting for you to get back to where we've seen you before. Guys, that is all I've got for this interview, though. If you would like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out a little bit after the interview. I'd like to take this time to give a shout out to OTB. That's onlythebestdiscs.com. Now, they do, in my opinion, the best job at matching you, the consumer, with the best disc for you. Now, I have to have it pass the feel test. That's like the biggest thing for me with a new disc. And with OTB, they give you the firmness and flatness of every disc in stock. It's ridiculous. Not to mention $395 flat rate shipping's pretty nice offer to boot. So thanks again, guys, and check out onlythebestdiscs.com.